Hi everyone, welcome to episode 19 of UK Edu Stories with myself, Bukky Youssef, and my co-host, Mark Anderson. This week's episode is going to be slightly different because we're actually going to be having a CPD session from our very own Mark. Mark, as you probably already know, is a whiz when it comes to edtech and lots of different strategies that educators can actually use. And I think, if I'm correct, Mark, we're going to be looking at some of the Adobe things that we could actually share and use. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, you've been asking me for some time, haven't you, about how you go about using things like Spark Post.
Absolutely.
And there's some great tools. Spark Post is really good. Spark Video is really good. Spark Page is really good too. So I thought, well, for tonight's show, let's flip things around a little bit, because in our conversations, Bukky and I have been talking, and we did a show a little while back where we actually got to share ourselves. And whilst we absolutely love bringing guests onto the show and amplifying the stories and sort of sharing those sorts of things, it's really nice for us to be able to share a few things too, because we've got a lot to share ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we thought we'd do with this penultimate show from season 1, next week's show, Bukky, really looking forward to that. Got some awesome guests lined up for that, and we'll share those guest names with you at the end of the show this evening. But we thought, well, why not this evening share some things ourselves, so that we can sort of train ourselves and support each other a little bit. But then also make it open and available for everyone else to view and engage and see as well. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to try and do during the session today. But equally, I asked the question on Twitter earlier on today, and about an hour or so ago, because we have got a lot of skill and expertise between us, not just around edtech, but around coaching, teaching and learning, leadership, all sorts of stuff. And so it's a real open mic night in that regard, because yes, I'm able to share some things around using Adobe Spark. I think Bukky's got some things lined up for us to have a look at as well in relation to how you can use PowerPoint more effectively. And I certainly can add a few things into that as well. But Bukky and I are actually a really good resource. And so what we're trying to do as well is open things over to you, so that you can come to us, you can ask questions, and you can get engaged with us. And we can respond to your questions. And we work with hundreds of schools and teachers around the world, and so we're very happy to respond to questions you might have, and show you some ways in which you could maybe use some technology to support some of the activities that you're wanting to engage with and do. So, for example, it's getting towards the end of term. An article I'm writing at the moment, Bukky, is one where we can explore different ways to create end-of-term celebration resources, videos, posters, or those sorts of things. So, again, there are lots of things that teachers want to try and do for their learners, for their colleagues, so forth and so on. And so we're here today to be used, not abused, used, and be able to sort of share some things back for you ourselves. So, really looking forward to doing that. I'm just going on to Twitter myself right now. I was going to pin. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight as well, on top of presenting ourselves. Using our tool StreamYard that we use for this purpose. We're actually simulcasting tonight as well. So not only are we doing things via our YouTube channel, but tonight's show is also at the same time being broadcast onto Twitter as well. So please do send through your comments and questions and things. Great to see Mark Ryan joining us. Mark is over in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Really appreciate that. Finally joining us. Yeah. Well, you're one step ahead of us, Mark, because you're actually on your summer break already, I believe.
Yeah.
But we're here to, be here to support you and give you ideas and things that you can choose to use and engage with as well. So if you've got some questions for us, if you've got some things you'd like some hints and tips with, then please do ask us, because we're always very happy to do that.
Brilliant, fantastic. But so as we usually do at the start of the week, how has your week been since we last broadcast, since last Thursday?
Oh, do you know what? I mean, my week's been absolutely crazy busy. Really good, really positive week, Bukky. I spent Monday working with a cohort of graduating PGCE students from Liverpool Hope University. So there are 200 or so students in that session. And the last 2 days, I've worked with 700 colleagues across Cardiff and Vale College. running sessions there, and that's been brilliant. You know, I've worked with the college a number of times, and there's such a fantastic team of people to work with. They're so up for using tech and thinking about informed approaches to teaching and learning. It was great, and they had some other great speakers there as well, such as Bradley Bush. Bradley Bush is the co-author of this book, which I've shared before, which is Science of Learning, 77 Studies that every teacher needs to know. So he was there today sharing things with doing that. So yeah, Mark's asked us a question straight up. How are you? I'll share it into the thing here. And how are you both managing to work on your physical and mental health? Bukky, how are you managing to work on your physical?
That's a very good question. More recently, like in the last week, not so much. I'll be honest, but I have been working on my mental health by making sure that I sleep more regularly. I'm a night owl, so I can work until easily 2-3 o'clock in the morning, but then I've got meetings that start early in the morning, things like that. So I'm making sure I get my 8 hours, touching base with my nearest and dearest, and just taking time to be slow. Actually, I'm building more time for stillness, because I'm usually, I think this time of the year, you know, there's a mad rush to try and get all the loose ends tied up. And I think with the strangeness of this year as well, it's added to the mental load. So I'm listening to myself more, just slowing down, and just taking my time to do things. But thank you for asking, Mark. That's a really good question. What about yourself, Mark? How have you managed your physical and mental aspects?
As you know, I was starting to do, and Mark will love this, I was starting to do a little bit of running, but actually, as you know, Bukky, but viewers won't, last week, in preparing to get ready for this actual show, I managed to pull my back. And so I've been in quite a lot of pain this last week. So the thing around that really is just been being mindful of my motion and movement and things. But I've been so busy with work. What's been really nice is actually, and having a bad back as well. I mean, I've suffered from a bad back before, and it is really physically draining, actually. You know, I think it must be to do with the muscles tighten and all these sort of things. But boy, have I been sleeping, Bukky.
Yeah, no,
so
my dad used to
really
experience that, and I know it just takes a toll. It's when you put your back out, you realise how much impact it actually has on your mobility. Yeah, I can understand that, but I hope is it starting to get any better?
It's far better than it was, say, Friday morning last week. I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't move. It took me sort of half an hour just to get out of bed. It was a really difficult thing to do, but it's been getting better over the course of the week. I'm not one for using painkillers much, so yeah, I've been trying to avoid those sorts of things, just so I can be more sort of compos mentis. You know, I've got a lot of work to do, but again, sitting in front of a computer and doing work and engaging in sessions isn't the best the best way to do things. A guest on tonight as well, Sparkling Sugar. I'm not quite sure who Sparkling Sugar is, but they've said good evening to us, so good evening to you. And they've made some comments about what you shared, Bukky, saying time is powerful. Agreed, it's important to sort of take things slow. Mark, who runs the Run and Rant, his Twitter handle is Run Educator. And he does some vlogging with his Run and Rant thing, so he's clearly picked up on that with the running, you said? Certainly, some hints and tips actually, Mark, because I'm not built for speed. That's certainly for sure. So he's also added into the stuff here as well, saying that he's worried about hearing about students with bad back soon as well. So definitely something to be mindful of, particularly with sort of bad posture. Something, you know, I'm a business teacher by trade, and something we often have to talk about on a business syllabus is ergonomics for working in an office and making sure you have and thinking around things to do with health and safety at work and all these different aspects of making sure that you're able to have a good working and seating position. Something which is actually important, more increasingly so, for teachers working from home as well, because schools have got a duty to make sure, and you find this in classrooms, they haven't made proper chairs that are you can sit in that support your back and have lumbar control and all these different things. But we don't have those in our homes. If we're going to be having to increasingly work at home, our schools actually, this is a question I don't know the answer to, but do schools have a responsibility to make sure that teachers do actually have access to the right sort of furniture which supports their needs in the home? Is that something that teachers should have to provide for themselves, or is it something that schools should provide for them?
Good and interesting question. No, very good and interesting question. Yeah, very much so.
Well, Bukky, how has your week been?
Phew, it's busy. I'm trying to think back, what exactly have I done? I think a lot more things online, more online meetings. Like, for example, today I've had about maybe 5 or 6 Zoom meetings and I'm zoomed out completely. But what was lovely was yesterday I was actually in school for the first time since, I think, early March. I had to take some time out. I think you recall I took some time out before a lockdown because I had what appeared to be COVID-19 symptoms. I didn't actually get checked out and things like that, so I don't know. But obviously the guideline were, you had to actually self-isolate, which I did. And by the time I got better, lockdown was in place. So it was great to be back in school and to see the students. And some of their students were so pleased and delighted to be back and to see that everything, was the same as it was in school. So that was great. And it was also nice to meet with colleagues as well, face to face, socially distanced, mind you, but face to face. So yeah, so that's good. So it's been an interesting week. It feels busy. I'm also doing my Teacher 5 a Day hashtag 21 days July well-being, and I've got varying levels of engagement, and I can understand people are very tired at this time of year now, more so, and very busy as well. I've had lots of conversations with people who thought they'd had a clear run between now and the end of term, and they've actually got some more work to do. So yeah, it's quite interesting. But for the educators that have engaged, thank you so much, and sharing and contributing. It's always great. But for those that haven't, please like, retweet, and join in however you can. It's only going to run for the first 21 days of July. So as I say, it's just a great way to connect, learn, exercise, notice, and volunteer.
Well, that's fantastic, Bukky. Can I ask you, why is it only 21 days then?
I chose it 3 weeks. I chose it 3 weeks because by the time we get to the 21st of July, we should already be on our summer holidays, is my rationale. And it makes it more manageable for me as well. So that's basically what I decided. And it's its 5th year as well, actually. So it's good.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that. I was just wondering as to why it was. I thought it might be something to do with summer holidays and time to do those things and so forth and so on. So thank you for that.
Okay.
We said we share some things. I've not received any questions as yet, Bukky, from anybody asking for any specific training on or ideas around doing anything with any things we talked about around teaching and learning, technology or coaching or leadership. So I haven't seen any questions either on Twitter or in our chat on the side here just yet. With that in mind, did you want to share a little bit first, or did you want?
Yes, what I'll do is I'll share something I created. Now, just for clarity, PowerPoint is my go-to, and I'm actually creating a talk that will explain part of the reason why. But when I first started as a teacher, my PowerPoints were really, really bad, and I had some input from an unusual source, and decided to take up training years later. But one of the things that I like about PowerPoint, it's so versatile. So you can use it to create images, incorporate narrations, create videos, GIFs, and things like that. And a lot of people say, can you really? So what I've done is I'm going to just share, if I may, let me just get this going. So it's a video I created. So just put the context. It's a video I created about 5 years ago as part of Teacher 5 a Day, where we were sharing skills. And one of the things I said, I love PowerPoint, make it more interactive. You can create a video from a PowerPoint. And people were saying, really, can you? And it's been really useful for me because I work part-time. There are days in which I have to deliver training, but I'm not on site. So what I'll do is basically get a PowerPoint, it's very easy to set up, and create a video so that I've got the audios and narration and it can just go. So it's almost as though I'm there, but not. So I will share the screen and go to one of my older YouTube channels. Okay, so just checking and it works. Okay, so first of all, can we see that?
Yeah, we can see that. See that, and I'm going to put it full screen as well, Bukky, so we'll be off camera.
Thank you so much. Okay, so PowerPoint features may have varied slightly, but the steps are very much the same. So here we go. It's only for about 90 seconds. Here we go. Okay.
Well, there you go.
Very simple. Just make sure I come out of this. Okay.
It's interesting, actually. Mark was saying people on YouTube watching YouTube. The irony isn't lost on me either, Mark.
I know, but I just thought, as I said, it's something that's already there that I created. But and again, it just highlights how simply we can actually use PowerPoint. So yeah, there we go.
Superb, Bukky. Well, we've had some conversation in the chat already from Sparkling Sugar. And again, I'm not too sure who that is, but they've asked, Mark was talking about how Padlet is his new love.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'll just share that. Mark said, Padlet is my new love. And then straight away back after that, Sparkling Sugar said, I need to learn Padlet. Well, I thought, well, I can share Padlet if you like. Yes, please, said Sparkling Sugar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and share Padlet with you right now. So I'm just going to share my screen now, if that's all right with you, Bukky.
Yep.
I'll hit the share screen button. I'll go to Chrome tab. I'm going to choose Padlet, which I've already got loaded up. There it is. And everyone should be able to see my Padlets here now. I've been using Padlet for quite a few years, and as you can see, there are loads and loads of them here. Padlet changed its model recently, so that you have to pay for it to have more than 3. But if you had more than 3, then you could keep the ones that you had. So I've still got the ones that I had, and that's why I've got as many as I do have, because I've still got a free account. But it's been used massively. And I've used it hugely over the years to curate different ideas and resources and all sorts, both at events and with people on Twitter. I've asked people on Twitter to sort of feed in and give ideas on how to do different things and what have you. So let's see if I can find one. Actually, there's one just here, keyboard shortcuts. And in fact, if you like this one, please do add to it. Keyboard shortcuts are a fantastic way to actually speed up the way that you work and all of that. So you can see, for example, here's one for a Mac: Command, Control, Shift, and 4 to do a screenshot. You've got someone sharing Control and B for bold, or Control and U for underline, or Control and I for italics, Control and Z for undo, so forth and so on. I want to draw your attention to, I'm just going to check on StreamYard a second to see if you can see this. No, you can't, because I'm showing the actual tab. I'm going to just stop sharing for a second. I want to show something. There's a lovely feature of a Padlet, because when you create a Padlet wall, sharing it with other people, if you don't have a means by easily sharing the URL, it can be quite a difficult thing to actually find and sort out. And one of the features that I really like about Padlet, Bukky, is that you can create a vanity link to go on the end. And so the one that I've made there, the vanity link at the end, is called Keyboard Shortcuts. And so it's very easy for them people to just type in the address and get the address correct for when they want to put things in. So let me just choose to share my screen again. I'll go entire screen this time, and that will then bring everything up. And you should now be able to see my Padlet. And if I go into the Keyboard Shortcuts one, which is actually open here already, can you see the URL at the top? So you've got padlet.com/ICT Evangelist, because that's my handle, my username on Padlet. And then afterwards, it just says keyboard shortcuts. So if you were Bukky now, for example, and don't feel like you have to, but if you were to go on to padlet.com/ICT Evangelist/keyboard shortcuts right now, you could not only see all of the things that have been added onto this wall already, but you can add your own on there too. So let's just jump to the other tab here for a second then, because Sparkling Sugars asked, how do you go about making a Padlet? Well, normally I would go to make a Padlet. Now, if I try to do that myself, my limit's been reached. I need to upgrade. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find one that I created a long time ago that I'm pretty confident won't have much on it. This is one that I made here, probably just playing around. Why is football great? And as you can see, it actually doesn't have anything on it, so it's a good one to choose. Oh no, there's one little thing there. I'm just going to delete that one there, and I'm going to delete this post here. This is probably just a demonstration from working with some students. So when you create a new one, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions, and it normally comes across in the section you can see over here. So you need to put in a title, a description. You can choose an icon to use, such as an emoji like that. You can choose to have no icon if you want to. So let's have a little go here. What do you like about teaching?
Okay.
So we could all do with some positivity. So why did you become a teacher? And or why do you love the job? Question mark. Now, that thing I mentioned before about the vanity link, at the moment you can see the link is AX1F1GIH. It's not very catchy, is it, Bukky?
No,
right?
not at all.
Okay, so what we do, underneath the title, description, and the icon, it says address. And just to the right-hand side of it, you can see the end of the link here. So you just go into here and highlight that, and you just go, I love teaching. And that's it. That's how you do the vanity link. Now, it's not going to work yet until I've hit the save button at the top here, Bukky. But I'm just going to change a few other things very quickly. So I'm going to go to the wallpaper, and I'm going to go to solid colors, and I'm going to choose a color which will work well with many other sort of colors on top. So that's that now sorted with that particular color. And I'm also going to change the font to this one here, just to show that you can change these things like so. You can make it so that attribution takes place. So you put the author name above each post. That does require people to log in. You can have comments turned on as well if you want to. That again requires people to be logged in. And these sort of things, you can grade, star, or upvote, or like posts. You can have that sort of thing turned on if you want to. You can also turn on content filtering, so you can require approvals. If you're working with students and you're a bit about whether or not they're going to be good students and put sensible things onto the actual Padlet wall, you can also do that. And something that I do recommend that you do is to filter profanity. So it replaces naughty words with nice emojis instead. So if somebody was to put something a bit naughty in there, it will put a little emoji in there instead. So if I hit save now, Bukky, you'll now notice straight away at the top here that URL has changed. So at the end, padlet.com/ICT-evangelist/I love teaching. And so Sparkling Sugar, if you want to go on your phone or on your device, whatever you're using now, and go to padlet.com, same for yourself, Mark, if you want to join in, seeing as you love Padlet so much, go to the address padlet.com/ICT-evangelist/I love teaching. And I'll just copy that myself as well, actually.
Yeah, can you copy it into the comments by any chance?
I might be able to. I'm just going to, I'm on Twitter here now. I'm just going to reply to my tweet and just paste it in there as well. And I'm just going to jump into the UK Edu Stories chat here and see if I can post that in there as well. I'll do it to all destinations and see if that will work too.
Okay.
I've hit the return key, and say hopefully what we should see momentarily are some people actually putting some things onto the Padlet wall. Now, one more thing before I start putting things on myself as well. There are different ways in which you can have the things added to the wall arranged, Bukky. So what you need to do with that one, rather than being in this view here with the modifying things, okay, just to the right of that, there's three little dots, the hamburger for more options. And if you go into there, I can go in there and I can choose to modify it, which is where I just was, or I can change the format. Okay, so if I go to change format, and I've got a wall which packs the comments in there like a brick-like layout. You can have a stream, which then works a bit like a social media stream. Yeah, so it's all one on top of the other and done in a chronological sense. You can have a grid where it's arranged into rows of boxes, a shelf where it's stacked into different columns. You can use it in like a chat environment with back channel. You can add content to points on the map, and you can also do it as a timeline as well. But I'm going to stick with the whole wall option like so. And that sort of rejigs a little bit, and then yours is there. So I can see you made a comment. You can make a positive difference to the school community, and it's a super easy thing. you to actually engage with. It's really good. And if you're using a tablet, what I really love about Padlet, if you're using a tablet or a mobile device, Bukky, is that you can not only put the text-based stuff in, but you can also include photographs as well. So if I just jump onto my phone for a second and go to the address on my phone, padlet.com/, taking me a second just to get there. I love. Someone's put themselves a GIF in there. Thank you very much. I love
That's really good.
Teaching. And yeah, I'm here now. So if I just great session as ever. Thank you very much. If I just go into here, I can put my title in, and you can see it's Mark, and that should start to appear on the screen already. But I can actually go into my camera, and I can right now just take a quick picture and use photo, and it's going to upload that on. So you can add loads of different content into here as well. So not just there's my picture on the screen there straight away. But students can upload content. If they've been working on an experiment, they can record, they made a video of it. They can upload files. You can link to things on Google Drive or OneDrive or wherever you've got your work saved. There's loads of ways in which you can make this a really sort of media and tapestry rich location for you to put a wide variety of different types of content. So yeah, Padlet. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And Sparkling Sugar, wherever they are, I hope you found that useful.
That's really good. I love the comment by Run Educator. I love it as an art teacher. Creates a great display for showcasing work. So easy to use. What I loved about what you demonstrated, Mark, is the ease in which you can actually use it.
Well, that's it. I mean, there I am. I mean, obviously, I've used it many times before. I stopped teaching 5 years ago, and I was using it for a good 5 years plus before that as well. You know, with my own students and using my own school accounts and things. So it is absolutely huge. So yeah, I thought that would be a nice little thing there, and lovely feedback. Thank you, Sparkling Sugar. I did. Thank you. Can't wait to try using it. Good. Well, look, you know, what I'd love to see, and if it's possible and relevant, and you're able to do that, actually, Sparkling Sugar, I'd love to see what you do. I'd love to see the end result. If it's permissible for you to do so, even if it's just a screenshot, then please do ping that across to myself and Bukky, because we'd love to see the output, also the outcome of how you're using it with your learners. But I've seen it being used in like a gazillion different ways. Students sending little selfies for well-being check-ins, you know, all sorts of ways in which it can be used in really easy to set up but simple ways. And what's been good, I often share Bukky about Padlet as being one of those sort of great edtech tools, because it's a real low access but could be sort of really big high challenge. Yeah, so I've used Padlet with children as young as sort of 4 or 5 years old. I've also used it with sixth formers. I'm a secondary teacher, so you know, I would use it with my year 12s and year 13s. With the work I do now with schools, particularly when they're thinking about using iPad, it's just a great way of bringing loads of different things together in an easy to use tool. So use Sparkling Sugar. Use your sort of free ones. See how you get on. If you like it, then you can use it as a case for sort of moving things forwards. But what you can always do, if you want to, you could just use it for a little bit, and each time you finished, you sort of reach your maximum, delete one of them, or just repurpose one of them, like I just did live, and then just keep using them like that. And that way you can just sort of roll with the 3 that you've actually got as part of your list of ones that are available to you.
Thank you, Mark. I just thought I'd share Sparkling Sugar's comment with you about no pressure, or pressure will do. Can't wait to share it with you, and how supportive Run Educator was. You'll be great. So that's really lovely to hear. We've also got another comment from someone else, e-learning CB, and the fact that it links to what you said about using it with your year 12 and 13 students. We use it in further education. Students love it. And then another comment from Laura Shaw. I love using Padlet for learners to share their answers. It then creates a springboard for discussion, which is really great. And I love the collaborative aspect of it as well. What's the most unusual way in which you've seen Padlet being used, Mark?
The most unusual way I've seen Padlet being used. Crikey. Nothing put me on the spot, Bukky.
I just realised now I did. It wasn't intended. You know how my mind works. I just thought it was the only thing that stood out that you thought, wow, this is really creative or unusual.
I'll tell you what I will do, though, Bukky, in response to the question. There's a gentleman I first came across on Twitter when I first started using Twitter, so some time ago now, called Tom Barrett. He's a former now. He was a head teacher at primary school in Nottingham at the time. He no longer works there. He's since emigrated to Australia.
Right.
And he now works alongside Ewan McIntosh as part of the NoTosh organisation. But way back when there were only really Google tools available for collaboration online with other students and things, really, he set up a load of Google slides that were open for educators to fill in called 100 Ways to X, Y, Z. Not 100, interesting ways to. And so he made these Google Slides presentations on interesting ways to use Google Slides, interesting ways to use Google Docs, interesting ways to use this, that, and the other. Excuse me. And one of those was interesting ways to use Padlet. And I remember, if you're looking for ideas on how to use Padlet in the classroom and ways in which it could be useful and helpful, excuse me, have a check out, because they're all still live. If you just Google interesting ways to use Padlet, I'm positive it'll be one of the top responses, because they're still so massively popular. And over the years, more and more people have added to these different interesting ways presentations. So Tom Barrett, TOMBARRETT is his Twitter handle. Please do give him a follow. He's a really lovely chap. Yeah, those interesting ways presentations, Bukky, is my cheat answer to what were the most interesting.
Well, perfectly acceptable, Mark. Particularly as I put you on the spot unintentionally, I have to add.
One of my favourite ways of doing it, and Graham Andre's done this a few times since as well. One of my favourite ways to do it, let me just share my screen with you, is using things as part of a collaboration space for your professional learning network. You know, I've got what is your favourite iOS app as a teacher? 4 years ago I made this, and I'm just jumping onto here now. We'll see once it comes on through how many different bits of feedback we've had. Look at all these different people on Twitter who've taken the time to respond and share ideas and tools and apps to use. And some people, there's Krista Hazel. Hi, Krista. She's over here as well. But loads of people have taken the time to feed into this. We've got Matt Pullen, for example, over here, Jenna Lucas, Lee Parkinson, Fiona Peters, Colin Grimes, some bloke called ICT Evangelist, Nina Jackson, former guest here on UK Edu Stories, Nick Ford, Deputy Head Bolton School, loads of people sharing these fantastic ideas. And I think this is a really innovative way of doing this, because it's not in the classroom, but so many teachers absolutely have so much love for Padlet, and quite rightly, I think. Okay, using it in a way to actually have things open to people, so they can take the time to actually fill these things in and collaborate and share an open resource like this. I think this is a lovely way of actually going about using the platform. I don't know what you think, Bukky, but
I think it's so powerful. I love that, and I've seen what Graham's done, which is really good, because like I think for PSHE and things like that, where he's collaborated it and it's just open access for everyone to use. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
That's okay, absolute pleasure. Sparkling Sugar says, my days. Crikey, where are you from? Are you from around the southwest somewhere? My days. Why have I missed out on this Padlet experience till now? Well, get on the Padlet wave now and look forward to seeing what you actually achieve with it. But low access, high challenge. I don't know what age group you teach, Sparkling Sugar, but it is an absolutely fantastic tool. Mark's asking something or saying something about TikTok. Laura is spot on. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Someone sees the story as Netflix favorites. Yeah, we've got a comment here about Padlet as well. It really integrates well into Microsoft Teams. Lots of schools use Microsoft Teams, and quite rightly. Microsoft Teams integration with Padlet is really, really good. And again, anything you can do to make access to resources for your learners easy is a great thing to do. That's one of the things I love about Microsoft Teams, actually. It's so easy using the plus button at the top within your team. And there are so many great apps. Quizlet, for example, one of my favorite tools for sort of retrieval practice and quizzing, Bukky, has got an app which there's a little bit of an API link through. So Quizlet is super easy to add into Microsoft Teams as well. But what's great is you can integrate all sorts of things just through using the website option in Microsoft Teams, even if there isn't a specific app integrated into Teams, like it does with things like Padlet and Quizlet. Like, as you know, with me, Bukky, I'm a huge fan of quizzes. Quizzes for me is like,
yes.
I'm a huge fan.
And with good reason as well, actually, since you've introduced me to it. I love the variety. You know how I keep going on about Kahoots, which I love. I still love, but quizzes, it takes it up to the next level. And I've just thought, it's really good. So I can certainly see why you like it.
Yeah, so with that, there is no actual integration into Teams with quizzes. But what's great is when you choose that plus button, if the app isn't actually there, but it's a web-based tool, you can just simply click on the option for website, pop the URL in, and it goes in there. Now, that's not as good as it could be, bringing the results across from the quiz and all those sort of things into Teams in the assignments that you set and all the rest of it. But it does still speed up the process. It means that you don't have to sort of wait for a while for the students to log on, find the URL, get there, all the rest of it. It's really, really simple and easy for you to sort of get into things there. So yeah, that's that. So Bukky, did you have any more things to share about PowerPoint?
I did, but I'm not even sure. You know what? You know how nervous I get when it comes to, let's just see whether or not this works. Well, as always, let's have a look. Let me just try once more before I try and share my screen. No. So I've got the document open, but it's got its own. Okay, now.
Can I share one of my favorite things about PowerPoint?
Okay.
That's been added
all right then.
while you're sort of working that out. Is that okay, Bukky?
Yeah. You know, I'm just, I shouldn't. What I'm going to share. In fact, let me just do it now. I'll just do this.
Go on, go for it.
Really quickly. It's not even anything major, but I am obsessed with people making the most out of any of the simple tools that we use. Oh dear. Okay, just give me, because I've got so many tabs open. So let me share my screen. Let's go to that. Now you can see this. I'll just go back here. Okay, so I did prepare. So one thing that is a bugbear of mine is when you just see a slide and you have a block of information. Because I work in a special school, I always have to be conscious about making sure that there's just not too much information, even if it's learning instructions on the screen, even PowerPoint presentations as well. So it's just a very simple thing of just animating the text so that you can talk through it, but it doesn't overload. There's not so much text on the screen. And this is basically an example of how I actually use it. So have the hint that reveals, and underneath with the challenge, I've actually just got a sentence starter. Again, some of my students, they actually need to see it being modeled. So this is just a very simple way of modeling, you know, the vegetables I know are ... and they can use the images there. And then afterwards, we can actually just quickly go through the answers of some of the things they've actually seen. So it just appears and it makes it a smooth transition. I was going to show you this, what I tend to do with, say, like homework. I link it to the PowerPoint. So it aids familiarity and the fact that the students have actually seen the resources beforehand. And all we simply do is you can literally just come out, export the slides that you want. So it could be the whole document or just maybe one particular page. And you can just have this particular slide converted into a JPEG image where the student can actually then take home. And the whole point was that the student had to just practice the words that they saw and practice with one of the learning mentors at school. So again, that familiarity and continuity was really important. Now this didn't work. I tried it earlier, but I also add in narration. And it's very simple, so that even if I'm not in, so if there's any situation when I'm not in school or I have to be somewhere else, the lesson can still go ahead, but it can serve two purposes. The students can actually hear the instructions from me directly or questions.
We can't hear that, Bukky, by the way.
Could you not? Oh, okay. That's such a shame. Okay, I'm not even sure how to make that work. But so basically, what you have are the audio sound bites of the sentences. So if students are actually struggling to read, they can, they've got the option, so they can independently choose to hear what the sentence says or hear pronunciations and things like that as well. So those are just some of the other things that I do quite simply, but that extends the learning experience through the simple use of PowerPoint.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for that, Bukky. We had Sparkling Sugar said that they've had to go now, so they said thank you to us and all of that. Loving the PowerPoint, though, she said, and perfect for my EYFS team to use. She promises she's going now. Are you sure? Because I'm about to show something really cool that you might want to use in PowerPoint. Not going to keep you too long, but what was interesting before you started sharing, people like the suspense is killing us. Oh, the suspense, says Mark. E-Learning CB says, is it PowerPoint Live? Is it PowerPoint Recorder? Oh, the suspense is killing us. Oh, my goodness. And then you managed to get yourself screen sharing, and Mark is going, look, well-organised desktop, Bukky. Well done. Lovely engagements and a good bit of fun now with that. Let me just share my screen quickly with you as well. I've been doing some sessions recently as part of the Global EdTech Academy. In fact, I'm doing one tomorrow on PowerPoint, Bukky.
Oh, okay.
And it's using PowerPoint to promote student agency and promote student agency, authenticity, and something else. But using and student voice, I think it is. But that session's tomorrow. Am I okay to do a shout out? Is that okay?
Yeah, because I want to hear it.
11 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to be presenting as part of the Global EdTech Academy with Microsoft and Q on the topic of using PowerPoint for student voice, authenticity, agency, and all of that. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. I'm going to hit share. I'm just going to drop myself into PowerPoint. Here's a PowerPoint presentation. I'm not going to share with you about Office Lens. This is from a presentation that I delivered today, actually, at Cardiff and Vale College. But something that I absolutely love that you can do with PowerPoint now, Bukky, is you can have interactive 3D models that work directly on your slides. Now, Bukky, now you're a science teacher, so hopefully, are you biology, chemistry, or physics?
Chemistry is my specialism. Yeah.
Okay. You might not be able to answer this question then. I did A-level biology, and I can't remember about bicuspid and tricuspid valves, okay? But I was sharing this 3D model today, Bukky, and it looks really good with it being animated and things, but check out what you can also do while it's being animated. I can actually engage with this.
Okay, this is good.
And do this directly with inside PowerPoint. Now, I may well be wrong, okay, because there's clearly some sort of cutout here, okay. But I was thinking this might be the tricuspid valve over here and the bicuspid one here. I don't know if I'm right or not. But
I always have to look this one up, I'll be honest. But I suppose, from the face of it, because you've got the 3 parts there and the 2 parts there, I presume so. But I will be honest and say I always have to look this up and double check.
But how amazing is this? Now, listen, you know me, Bukky. I am absolutely one person who goes, until I'm blue in the face almost sometimes. Let's use technology for purposeful reasons. Just because we can do something to tech doesn't necessarily mean that we should do. But how amazing is this? When I was doing A-level biology, it's really difficult to do things like dissection and I'm still an advocate for doing those sort of things. It is really important. But how great would it be for our learners to be able to actually experience something like this, interact with it, have a good look around with it, so that when they actually come to work with the real heart and have to do the dissection and things, they're far better prepared. They know what they're looking for. It's not a completely blank canvas, and it's not going to be a completely strange thing to them. They should have a clear idea of what it should look like, and they can then go away and pin the various parts.
Absolutely, and lift it from the page. Yes, definitely, because normally that's a 2D, and a lot of students again struggle because they've got the 4 chambers of the heart and all the rest of it, but because it's flat, it's just difficult just to see that. So I like the fact that you can actually move it around and interact with it more than you normally would be able to.
Absolutely. And listen, Bukky, if you go to the insert ribbon just here and then go to where it says 3D models, click onto here, it loads up the online 3D models over here on the side. And there are loads in there. And some of them aren't really educational, the clothing ones and things. But as a chemist, Bukky, is there anything in here which might actually get you thinking about?
I'm just thinking, can you go back? You've got the, I'm trying to think. Let's have a look. The one on the top right hand side.
This one?
Yes, please. Trying to work out, is that methane?
Well, I can now click on that and I can just bring it straight into my presentation. Let's just move the heart out of the way for a second.
Because that would save on Molly-Mod kits, which are very expensive. So it'll be, that's brilliant. That's really good. Yeah.
How easy and quick was that, Bukky? Now, I do run other sessions where I share this sort of stuff about the 3D models and what have you, because finding 3D models is actually quite a difficult thing to do. There aren't many sites where you can go and get these sorts of things. There is a site by MakerBot, I think it is. The website address is Thingiverse, ThingiVerse.com, which was passed on to me by the awesome Simon Johnson, CLC Simon, on Twitter. A great shout out for that gentleman. He's a good guy, an all-round good guy. It was him who put me onto it. But did you know, Bukky, that you can use? Have you used Paint recently?
I don't use Paint at all. I'll be honest. No, I don't use it.
Because Paint used to be pants, didn't it? Well, Paint is no longer pants.
Okay. How long since how? I have to see it to believe it.
Well, unfortunately, Bukky, you know me, I'm on a Mac and I'm not on my Surface tonight, so I can't actually show you. Although I did do a session on this using Paint 3D and PowerPoint with 3D models. So if you go to the Global EdTech Academy YouTube channel, you can find my session there. But Paint 3D, which comes with Windows 10 now, Bukky, you can create your own. It comes with loads of wireframe models. Okay, and in there you get the wireframe models, and you can create and paint and color in and all this sort of stuff, your own 3D models using Paint 3D. So all you then have to do is, and it's as simple literally, is once you finish making your model in Paint 3D, you click on it, you do Control and C to copy it, you jump across into PowerPoint, do Control and V and paste it in, and boom, you're away. Now, in the session I did for the Global EdTech Academy, I was talking about using it. The simple example I gave was for storytelling. There's a wireframe of a little fish, and so I showed how to paint that. So I painted it orange, put some black stripes on it, made my own little Nemo. Okay, I popped it straight into PowerPoint. I went on to unsplash.com, which is a great website for royalty-free images. Although you can as well, this is a nice little tip as well, and this works in Google Slides as well. But if you go into here and do a search for pictures and choose the online pictures option here, when you search for pictures online using PowerPoint and Google Slides, it does bring up royalty-free images for you to use as standard, which is really good for sort of safeguarding teachers against copyright issues. But the thing that I was going to say then was I went to Unsplash and I found a nice little picture of a coral reef. I got that picture, I sent it to the back. I then dropped in my little
Nemo.
My little Nemo in. Okay, I then did this. This is another little tip as well. People often use Control and C and Control and V to copy and paste things. We can actually just press Control and D. Control and D does this. It duplicates things. So you can see I've got lots of hearts now. And so what I did was I made loads of little fish and I just changed the size of them like this and then line them up next to each other. And I made a little school of fish. And you can animate 3D items inside PowerPoint as well now. So if you choose, and I'm just going to undo this, so I haven't got so many hearts beating in the background, so we can just work with the one. But in your animations option here, you've now got things to actually do things with your hearts. So I'll just show a little entrance one there. And I animated these all these different fish swimming across and engaging and moving around and doing things in the coral reef. Now listen, Bukky, this is Paint and PowerPoint.
Yeah, very simple tools.
It's paint and PowerPoint, Bukky. Who doesn't know how to use these things already? But, people talk about what you can do with PowerPoint and death by PowerPoint and all the rest of it. I think it's so important we start to think a bit more interestingly and carefully about how we use these tools to engage our learners in the activities they do in the classroom. There's so many amazing things that can be done.
Yeah. Push the boundaries with them. I just think that we just scratch we don't even scratch the surface in terms of what we do, maybe a text, maybe an image if you're lucky, but it's all very static and you can do so much more, as you say. So yeah, I'm definitely with you in that one.
Thank you, Bukky. I'm looking at some of the comments here. Can someone make the beating heart sound? Absolutely, Mark. And another great thing you can do with PowerPoint, like you saw with Bukky's example, is you can leave little audio clips on there. So you could make it so that when you run the presentation, set the animation stuff up, and you can do the heartbeat, so it plays in the background as you're watching the heart and running the animations and things there as well. So fantastic. What else have we got here? This would be great for sculptures in art. I'll share with the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, fantastic. That is down in Abu Dhabi. What else have we got? Maybe this 3D imaging will become easy, like with images on Facebook. We're running out of time here. Maybe for another show, Bukky.
Possibly.
I came across a new...
9 minutes. Yeah, my goodness.
I came across another app yesterday, Bukky. It's an iOS app. Okay, and you print a little sheet of paper. You place whatever item you want to make 3D. So let's say it's it is. Oh, I can't reach too far. Let's say it's this character here.
Where's mine? You know what? I have my character, my rainbow bear. Oh, here we go.
Oh, very nice. So what you do, I think. I might include this as a fun little thing to do during our show next week. It's a little extra. But with this app, you print out the marker sheet. You drop this on top. The camera loads within the app, within this particular tool. You scan it around like this, and it recognizes the QR code when it does it. But the shape here blocks parts of things that it can see. So as you move your iPad around, so it generates a 3D model of the thing that you've placed on the sheet, which you can then work with and use in loads of different augmented reality tools on your iPad. You can also save it in a format as a 3D model, so you could even send it for 3D printing. You could use it as a 3D, he's lost his trident there. It's not a fork, it's a trident. It's 3 points. It's not an actual fork. So I'm getting all Sheldon on you there. Yeah, how amazing is that?
No, that's brilliant. That is really good to hear, actually. So I'm just putting the rainbow back on. Just get distracted. Let me leave that alone because I'm now getting distracted. Are there before? I just seen, as I said, 7 minutes to go. Were there any more ideas or anything like that, apps or anything like that anyone wanted to share for you to share during the last few minutes? Because I looked on the.
I was going to do Adobe Spark, wasn't I? And we haven't even looked at that.
Well, this is it.
Yet.
Well, but the great thing is, Mark, we can always leave that for another day.
Absolutely.
I think we can leave that for another day.
Go anywhere. And to be honest, viewers, if you haven't checked out Adobe Spark before, please do. Spark.adobe.com. All the apps are available for free on iOS. Spark Post is available on Android as well. 100% recommend it as a great tool for creating awesome resources for your classes. Please, please do check it out. Excuse me. And we will look to share some of these things with you around Spark. Zena. I've heard Adobe Spark is excellent. You're absolutely right, Zenonos. It is absolutely brilliant. A strong recommendation there. But Bukky, should we wrap up the show by sharing with viewers the guests we've got on for our show next week?
Yeah, so next week, as it's the last episode for this particular series, we decided to have, I suppose, another fun session, but inviting some guest backs, for example, Action Jackson, Graham Andre. We also have Jazz, I always get her surname wrong, Parfar as well. We'll also have Jules Dorby and Howell. Is it right? Howell Roberts? Have I got that right?
Howell Roberts, Nina Jackson, mind joining us as well?
Yes. So it's just basically going to be ending on a high, but and just a positive wrap up as well. Just looking at the year, and also what was it we were suggesting about 50 things we can actually do during the summer holidays. Just giving some tips and ideas of what we can actually do, as well as having a laugh.
Yeah, so we're framing it around this idea of 50 things to do this summer as a teacher, and saying we've got some fantastic guests. We've got Harold Roberts, we've got Ed Finch, who may even do a song for us with his ukulele as well. Graham Andre, we've got Nina Jackson, Music Mind, Action Jackson, Jazz Pofar, Jules Dolby. It's going to be a great show, and really looking forward to welcoming all of them to the show next week. So thank you, Zena. Thank you. So really looking forward to sharing that with you next week. We will be live from 7 p.m. Both on YouTube and do you think we should do Periscope again? I think
let's do Periscope. I think we should. Yeah, I definitely think we should.
Yeah, so we'll be live on Periscope and YouTube at the same time. And if you're watching back on YouTube now, thank you for joining us as well. Thank you to all of our guests from this evening who've come and shared and made it so brilliant in the comments. Thank you to Laura Shaw, Mark Ryan, Sparkling Sugar, and Zena. Thank you, Zena. We've had so many people, e-learning CB joining us as well, so forth and so on. Really appreciate the love and the shares and the comments. It's been a great show. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week. Take care. Be safe out there. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.